Here we go. This is the start of about a 30-minute routine. Not exactly sure how long that's going to be. We'll see. And this will start with a warm up. Then we'll do some stretches and a cool down. So to warm up, feet parallel, knees bent, tuck your tailbone, feel just a little bit of pressure in your heels, and then bounce, bounce, bounce. We're going to do this for a little bit. Sometimes I'll do this. Really, what I'm doing right now is if I sort of monitor sort of where there's tightness in the front of my torso. If I'm agitated, if I've been playing video games, if I've been driving, I can tell there's tightness up here. I'm breathing into my chest. Right now, I'm about just below the solar plexus. I want to feel it down here. I want to feel it all the way down to the bottom of my belly. I want to start getting my vagus nerve awakened so I can stimulate my parasympathetic nervous system. So I'm going to bounce for a little bit. This is also going to just reset. Now, if you want, you can also coordinate your breath. Inhale to a count of 6 and then exhale to a count of 6 as well. And when you exhale, if you open your mouth and allow the bounce to sort of, you're getting some stimulation of your neck, which stimulates your vagus nerve, which again, well, over time, if you do this on a nightly basis, if you were to measure your A1C now, measure it in 3 months, it'll go down. Keep everything else the same. Of course, that's a big if. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm tingling quite a bit now. My whole body's sort of tingling. Oh, it feels wonderful. Okay, now we're going to move our neck around. Again, this is a minimal set of things if you want to warm up and do sort of 30 minutes, but the minimal is the stretching 2 minutes each. Okay, so I'm looking forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my head, look up, and then once I get to the top, I'm going to follow my eyes. So I'm allowing my eyes to lead my head. So I'm synchronizing those two things. If you want, another thing you can do is pause and then look down, inhale, pause, exhale, look up, inhale, etc. And then let's go down one more time. Come back to neutral. Now, right, look, inhale, exhale, pause. Inhale, look left, exhale, pause. Inhale, right, pause, exhale. Inhale, left, exhale, pause. Relax your belly and really allow your belly to expand. Allow your vagus nerve to be stimulated. It goes right here. Sitting actually makes it hard for you to do that. Okay, let's now do the same thing, but we're going to just take big circles. So I'm going to be careful. If you have any issue with dizziness, wall or some kind of something to balance, or honestly, sit. There's no reason to stand. I happen to be standing because I was just standing, but there's no reason to stand because this is all about just warming up the neck. So sit if you need to, totally fine. Or, get to a little bit of a horse riding stance and then tuck your tailbone if you want to add a little bit of activity down here while you're doing this. So what I want to do is I'm going to just sort of move my eyes in progressively larger circles depending on how my neck feels. I'm listening for all the crinkly parts of my neck. Oh, there's a bit of a tender spot. So when I find tenderness, I'm going to slow down and let the muscle maybe relax a little bit. Right there's a nice tight spot. I'm going to actually just pause here for a second, let my head hang, and then roll my chin on my chest, and then keep going around. There we go. And in reverse, do the same thing. Remember, lead with your eyes. If you can. But that intensifies the overall benefit from a neurological perspective. But right now, if what you can do is turn your head in circles and you can't do the eye thing, you have to close your eyes, that's the minimum right there. Just turn your head as big as you can. We're just trying to warm up the muscles and let them know things are changing. We're going to move more. And that's what we're doing. So slow and steady and consistent, you're retraining your body. And the way you change simply is you do something different, and this is something different. All right, now we're going to do some isometric holds on our head to add some strength. We're going to push in four directions, hold for 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and use a timer this time. Last few times I've been doing this, I've been counting it, and I'm tired of counting in my head. I'd like to just focus on the press. So put your right hand on the right side of your head. Now, again, I'm standing. You can sit for this. This is all about the neck. I'm standing. Feel free to sit. However, over time, if you practice tucking your tailbone as you stand, for example, when you're waiting in line, it's a good practice and you'll loosen your hips up in a really good way. So here we go. Press your hand into your right side, and here we go. You don't have to be killing this, but enough that you might feel a little bit of tension on the back left side of your neck. And that's good. If you hold that there and then release, you might notice that that muscle was tight before and slightly looser after. And here we go. We're about to come out and let go slowly. Okay. Same thing, left side, left hand, left side. And here we go. Press. If you're thinking about your first bone Tai Chi, get that tailbone tucked. Bring the front of your pelvis up a little bit. Maybe grip with your toes. You ever try gripping with your toes? I've got stretches so that you can know how to do that. Okay, and relax, relax, relax. Now, for the next two, we're going to go forward and back. Use both hands. Here's why. If you get used to using one hand, you're going to strengthen this arm. That's asymmetrical. And also, you're going to end up having some other strength. So you're going to be diagonally asymmetrical. That's not good. So both hands. So here we go. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few seconds so I have time to get into pose. And here we go. Hands together. Push your hands into your forehead. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and talk through sort of a mild horse stance Wu Chi thing. So my feet are parallel. They're wider than hip width. My knees are bent. Now I'm going to push my sacrum down and tuck my tailbone. And I'm still pushing up here. And then I'm dropping my shoulder blades. And by dropping my shoulder blades, I'm extending my spine. Okay, relax. Whew. It just intensified that a bit. That's good. Now, same thing, back of the head. So hands together, back of the head, and press your hands into your back of your head and vice versa. Back to the feet. Feet parallel. I'm gripping with my feet. I've got my knees bent. Sacrum down, and it slightly tucks under. That brings the perineum to line up with the heels or the so-called bubbling well. I'm engaging the 9 yang points of the feet, the toes, the three balls of the feet, and the outside heat edge as I'm pushing, and then dropping my shoulders and relax. Whew. Like that. Now, for this last one, I'm going to push up. So before we do this, I want to establish the first bow so we have a good base so that we're protecting our spine. So again, you can be narrow, wide. I'm going to go for slightly wider, not full double width, but a little wide. Knees bent, tuck the tailbone, and do a little bit of practice until you can actually feel a little bit of pressure in your heels. That pressure is the ligaments engaging. You're locking in. If you can grab with your feet and sometimes simulating that with your hands in synchronicity with your toes is a good way to train yourself to do that. So now I'm gripping with my feet and I can feel my calves engaged. And now that I've got a good basis, I'm going to go ahead and tuck my tailbone and I'm going to push my head up into my hands. And here we go. Over the fontanelle. And I can feel my entire spine engaged. This feels wonderful. And I'm dropping my shoulders. Oh, that deepens it. I still feel good pressure, both my heels, tucking the tailbone, pushing the sacrum down, dropping the sacrum. I put my elbows forward just a touch to do that. Now, really, when you come out of this, relax out of this slowly. And here we go. Okay, now, right now, your spine probably feels a little compressed. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a reset. We're going to just do a forward fold. We're not going to do a full forward fold. I want to use this as simply a way to allow the spine to relax. Now, this is an inversion. If you are not able to do inversions, don't do this. Alexa, turn Lampion to 100% brightness. So inversions, be careful. If you can't do this as an inversion, then what you can instead do is lie on your back and simply put your knees up at 45 degrees and then try to tuck your tailbone as you allow your spine to relax in. And that would be a good alternative. But if you can do this, I'm going to get my feet about hip width apart. Go ahead and bend your knees a whole bunch. Forearms. Actually, not forearms. The back of the arms on your thighs, the front. And then I'm going to just sort of allow my spine to drop. I'm trying to, as much as possible, to just relax the muscles of my entire spine. Now, if you are so inclined, you can certainly turn this into a full forward fold. I'm not going to, but I'm going to go just a touch deeper. I'm going to try to really relax my whole spine. There we go. All right, now, just to be safe, to come out of this, put your hands just above your knees and press with your hands as you bend your knees to sort of start to bring your torso up, and then crawl your hands up your body. If you do that pose long enough that's necessary, who knows? If you're not used to doing that, you might have you're the slower you move to come out of any pose that you're in, the less likely you're going to tweak a muscle. And if you're about to tweak a muscle and you simply slow down and pause, a lot of times you can catch it before it happens. And if you're going slow, you can monitor your body. So go slow. It just works, right? That's Tai Chi applying to body intentional body movement. All right, now let's do a little bit more shaking just to sort of get ourselves ready for some flexibility. Now, tonight, given how late it is, I'm going to do all these poses for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a good minimum. You will get lasting change on any of these poses if you do them for 2 minutes. I encourage you to get up to about 5 minutes, but I need to watch my sleep. Sleep is number two. Psychological health, sleep, nutrition, and then exercise. So this is number four on the list of importances. Importances, there's a good word. All right. Now, for tonight, for the stretches, the props are going to be a wall, possibly a pillow for your chest. I haven't used it myself, but it's a possibility. And then later on, I'm going to have a little bench with a pillow on it. So that's what we're going to do. So again, I'm going to do all these poses for 2 minutes just for time purposes, but I would certainly encourage you to extend these if you wanted to. So I'm going to lay with my chest on the ground and my head is touching the floor. Now, here's a little trick with this one. I should have said another prop is to brush your teeth because your hands might not stick to the wall. And so I just brushed my teeth and they're charcoaly clean. And so when I'll be able, I'm going to have, my hands are going to be clean when I get that. And that'll make my hands stick to the wall much better. For 2 minutes, it's not as important in my experience. It's once you go beyond 3 minutes when you're starting to get deep enough that if you start to slide, it can actually cause a cascading locking up of your muscles. It's a reflex response. Your sarcomere start to go whoosh, and it hurts. You can actually hurt yourself. So lying on the floor, I said I was going to do this. I mean it. Okay, that'll do. Now, head's touching the wall. You're going to reach up. Now, start with your hands wider than shoulder width, but you could certainly do it elsewise. You can go a little bit more narrow or a little bit wider. And now I'm just going to drop into my shoulders and try to relax my chest. So, as you start this pose, you'll probably notice things like your armpits are stretching. Eventually, your rotator cuffs your shoulders. If you stay here long enough, you might get your trapezius muscles involved. And after you'll hate this pose at first, most likely. This is my favorite pose. So here's a tip to deepen this once you're ready for this. Curl your toes under and get light pressure and sort of straighten your legs. And that deepens your chest. Oh, that feels really good right there. I feel that on the entire front of my chest, all the way to my breastbone, and all the way on my shoulders. Now, kitty, no ma'am, sir, sorry. Not now. Yeah, no, not now. Thank you. This is one of those poses you can't bump me on. Okay, now to get out of this, I'm going to press my stomach, really take some of the pressure off my arm. Then I'll slide one arm down, say the left arm, push the elbow into the ground for support, slide the other arm down. And again, what I think knowing how you're going to get out of the pose is important, and I genuinely mean this. I've sometimes gotten myself in trouble with certain poses, like splits, where there was one time it took me about 4 minutes to get out of the pose. I was too deep and too relaxed, and it took me 4 minutes, and I was kind of worried. So be careful, come out of these slowly, but also learn how to come out of them carefully so you don't hurt yourself. Okay, now the next pose is asymmetrical, which means there's a right side and a left side. In this pose, we're going to stretch our shoulder blades apart, but since one arm is in front of the other, we're going to stretch them diagonally in two different directions. So this is going to be a really nice stretch. Now, it's a very awkward stretch at first. Once you know how to do it, once you get used to it, it's a very comfortable stretch. Set a timer. I've said this a million times. Okay, probably 100 times in my videos. I've fallen asleep in this pose. So careful. Laying on my stomach. If you have trouble with this, you could put a pillow right on here to hold your chest up and then eventually maybe remove that pillow. So I'm on the ground. I'm going to set the timer 2 minutes again. I'm going to put the right arm in front of the left arm, and then I'm going to slide myself back so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, mushroom. So I'm going to slide my right hand to the left. I'm going to slide my left hand to the right. I'd like my elbows to cross if I can, at least meet, or maybe even cross. And then I'm going to drop my chin on the front arm, which in this case is the right arm. Awkward thing one, learning how to breathe, let alone talk, and still be in this pose, but it's possible. If you use your phone all day, or you hunch over a computer or a desk, this series of stretches is going to seem like a minor miracle if you actually do it. The problem is you have to do it. And realistically, if you can do it more often. That's important because half of the work you're doing is training your neurological system. You're retraining your brain and you're calming your brain down on a regular basis. And that allows you to stretch more. And as you can stretch more, you can relax mentally more. There's a reinforcing feedback loop going on there. Consistency is more important than duration, though 2 to 5 minutes. If you have time to do one pose, 2 minutes, do it. You don't have to do them at the same time. You can do them throughout the day. Sitting watching TV, do half pigeon or double pigeon. Lying in bed about to go to bed, do butterfly on your back. I do that every night. Opens up the groin. You can sneak in 2 minutes here and there and it adds up. It really does add up. Okay, now push with your stomach. Unwind your arms. Switch your arms. Now the left arm is in front of the right arm. I'm going to slide my left hand to the right and my right hand to the left and further. And then chin down on the front or left arm and relax. It's a bit late, but here are some principles for you to sort of chew on. Breathe to relax. 5 breaths a minute is a great thing to do on a regular basis. A little bit fewer if you're taller because you have larger lungs. If you want to calm down as opposed to get balanced, still do 5 breaths a minute. Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. That's principle 1, breathe to relax. Wet noodle. I'm just sloppy. I'm just like trying to relax all the muscles. Relaxing and strength use the same muscle fibers in the opposite direction. You can get some flexibility while using strength, but you'll get much better and more effective stretching if you wet noodle your way into stretching a muscle and allowing it to relax. Passive tension over time, 2 to 5 minutes. 2 minutes is enough to get the neurological system wound down and for the muscle fibers to have had enough time to actually start to see persistent change. You will see persistent change in 2 minutes. More is great. After 5 minutes, for most poses, law of diminishing returns. This pose, at the end of 5 minutes, you really don't want to stretch anymore. I mean, you're as stretched as you need to be. But some poses like hips, you'll stretch more. You could stretch longer for the hips. It's how the pose feels, not how it come out of this. I'll pause on that. Push your stomach up. Okay, we're up to the last pose. Now, I said I was going to reset, and since I'm only going to do this for 2 minutes, I'm going to instead use these pillows. I think I can get away with this. Yeah, this will work. So I'm going to have white feet. And then I'm going to put my hands like so. If you are able to feel between your shoulders with your hands lower, great. I can't, or I don't. So this really works well for me. So now back to the thing I was about to say. It's how it feels, not how it looks. This feels better than this. I can do this all day long and I'm getting a great hamstring stretch, but I'm just not getting anything in my shoulders. All of a sudden I do this, I get a hamstring stretch, and as a bonus, I get my trapezius muscles begging for mercy. So I'm going to use props all day long. If you can use a prop to get balanced, then you can relax more. If you relax more, you stretch more. If you stretch more, you get more change. You get more change, you change more. I want to allow my breastbone to relax into the floor. Now, of course, it's not going to. I'm going to bend my knees. Bending the knees, you'll still get a hamstring stretch. It just sort of moves it into the middle of the muscle body. But I'm going to try to adjust it a little bit to see if I can get right there, for example. Now I've got a great stretch between my shoulder blades, much deeper. Now, I can probably, if I very carefully push up, maintain that stretch while still extending my legs. But if I can't, I will, my personal preference is between the shoulder blades because I've got plenty of hamstring stretches. But this pose, for me, is much more important to be targeting between the shoulder blades and the hamstrings. Coming along for the ride is a bonus. Breathe to relax, passive tension over time, wet noodle. It's how it feels, not how it looks. Finally, you got to work from where you're at. If you're injured, pull back, still move things, but don't go full throttle. Some days you're going to be tighter, some days you're going to be looser. You might have an amazing stretch day once every few months. Don't attach to it. It'll happen or it doesn't happen. You'll be making progress, but just some days things get loose. Okay, now get out of this. Put one hand down. I'm going to put my left hand down on the ground, and then I'm going to lock it out, and then I'm going to bring my right hand down to the ground, and then I'm going to sort of half step my feet in a little bit, bend my knees, hands above the knees, and then I'm going to drop my butt as I bring my torso up, and then I'm going to push with my arms. Again, I only did this for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is not 2 minutes is great. It absolutely does something. But when you go for 5 minutes, you debilitate the muscle. There are certain poses where at the end of the pose, I can't, I don't have any pain. I don't have numbness. It's just like, it's not there. All I have to do is put it back into a neutral position and it's back. But you can really turn your muscles down. So do not do anything big after this kind of stretching. I'm going to bed after this. So this is my going to bed routine. Don't go jogging after this. These deep flexibility poses are meant to be done last, not first. All right, to wrap up, I'm going to shake again. So feet parallel, knees bent. Push that tailbone, push the sacrum down. Tailbone sort of comes under a little bit. Push the fontanelle up and bounce. Okay, now let's do just a little bit more stuff around the shoulders. So arms up and then let's turn side to side. Don't twist your knees. You might want to step a little bit wider than hip width. Okay, now stop turning your head. Have your head look forward. Okay, now stop turning your shoulders. Okay, now stop your waist and hip and continue with your shoulders while looking forward. And now let's ring out our spine. Arms one way, shoulders one way, hips the other. Side to side. Slow is fine. But continue to look forward and then turn your waist and hip one direction and your shoulders another direction. Now, if you want to add a bit of a Tai Chi flair more to this, so I'm pushing with my left foot as my left hand goes to the right. Then I'm going to push with my right hand, my right foot as my right foot as my right hand goes to the left. So I'm starting the movement in my feet for the bottom half, and I'm just turning my shoulders opposite. Okay, that's a bit more than I expected to do of that. Okay, let's do the engagement of the pelvic floor one last time, and then we'll shake it out. I'll go to bed. Feet parallel, knees bent. Tuck your Tuck your sacrum. Hip comes under a little bit. The pelvis comes up in the front. Hopefully you feel a little bit of additional weight in your heel. Again, you're engaging your ligaments. You're engaging or establishing the first bow in Tai Chi. Another trick, if you can do this, with your feet planted, lateral or externally rotate your thighs. And now this feels like a rock. Okay, then push the fontanelle up, and that extends your spine. Take your arms and internally or medially rotate them. That releases the ligaments on the inside. That relaxes your sternum so that you can drop your sternum down. And what you're doing is you're flattening out your pelvis and pushing your spine down into your pelvic floor. Okay, now relax slowly. Sort of release, but don't move, and then come back out. If you really engage your muscles and turn this into a real isometric hold, come out of it very slowly. And again, what I'll do is, so I'm deeply engaged. Step one, just release, but don't move. And then slowly return to normal, and then everything's fine. All right, anyway, good night.